I also told you that they were going to do nothing to prevent it? All four of my grandparents passed away to something that could have been prevented. Each of their illnesses were caused by the use of tobacco. Today, I will provide arguments showing why the United States should ban the use of tobacco. I will do this by arguing that the biggest number of preventable deaths in the United States today, you guessed it, is the use of tobacco. That there are no health benefits to the use of tobacco. That the loss of revenue that the government would receive as a result of losing that sales tax would not make a significant impact on our economy. And finally, contrary to many people's beliefs, that a ban on tobacco would not infringe on our constitutional rights. In a March 2021 article that was published on theconversation.com, it was reported that the number of deaths attributed to smoking in the United States in 2020 was nearly 500,000 Americans. 41,000 of those had never even picked up a cigarette. Their deaths were contributed to secondhand smoke. The Centers for Disease and Control Prevention categorizes and attributes many of the following causes of death to the use of tobacco. Cancer. Of course, all of us have heard of lung cancer, but it also is attributed to esophageal cancer, throat cancer, mouth cancer, strokes, diabetes, COPD, emphysema, chronic bronchitis, and heart disease. To put things into perspective for us, in 2021, the American Hospital Association reported that the drug overdoses for cocaine, opioids, methamphetamines, and heroin combined for the year of 2020 was 93,331. According to reports issued in 2021 by the CDC, that number was with a 29.4% increase over the prior year. That's being attributed to the pandemic. This means that without the pandemic, those deaths would have been approximately 60,000. Given these staggering numbers, why is it that these illegal drugs are only resulting in a fifth, approximately, of the same amount of deaths as the use of tobacco, which is entirely legal? There are absolutely no health benefits to the use of tobacco. In 2019, the Journal of Respiratory Health Therapists reported that there are no health benefits. While they can argue that there may be some cognitive benefits to the use of nicotine, tobacco is not in that category. You can receive nicotine from patches, you can receive nicotine from gum, and I'm sure they can think of a few other ways they would do so without increasing your health risks, such as tobacco. On average, non-smokers live 10 years longer than that of smokers. And the only truly negative effect that's predicted for our economy in the United States is that there is a potential 1.5% increase in Social Security. This is attributed to the fact that people would be living longer and with less chronic illness. What about the money that the government receives from tobacco taxes? Simple Google search resulted in the following numbers reported from the Business Insider. Business Insider reports that the government collected $12.3 billion in tobacco tax revenue federally in 2020. That accounted for less than 1% of federal spending, which was $6.55 trillion. How much more would you be willing to pay in taxes if it extended the life of your loved ones by 10 years, even 5 years? I can tell you that for me, there's no amount of money that I wouldn't pay for that. Another argument that people often argue is that by banning tobacco use, it infringes on our constitutional rights of liberty. Smokers are not classified as a specifically protected group of people under our Constitution. Therefore, it is not a right for anyone to smoke. Also, when a law is passed into legislation regarding the constitutional right to liberty, those that are affected, in this case smokers, are given the right to due process. This means that legislation must adequately justify their choices for passing the law or not passing the law. With tobacco use not having a single health benefit, I can't see how legislators would ever find an adequate reason to not pass a ban on tobacco. In fact, I find it hard to believe that they wouldn't pass it based on the fact that non-smokers have a right to breathe clean air. After learning the previously stated information, I think that we can all agree that banning tobacco use is more than adequately justified if it were to go to legislation. So, to recap, deaths by diseases that are caused by tobacco are often painful, drawn out, miserable. People gasping for air, not being able to breathe, feeling like they're drowning when they're on top of water. All illegal drugs combined account for nearly 5 times less than that of tobacco. It seems criminal. And the world is full of new ideas, making changes to improve our lives and the lives of those around us. We aren't accepting the things that we grew up as being facts anymore. We're stepping out into the world, we're making differences by changing the way that we think. We are no longer accepting that things are okay because our parents taught us that. It is up to us to help make the future of our friends, our neighbors, our children, our grandchildren a priority. Holding the hand of your loved ones as they are struggling to breathe is not the last memory that you want of them. Take it from me, because I know. I want you to ask yourself, who is your reason? Why would you ban tobacco? What are you willing to do to help?